Hey,
Yes, welcome. Welcome, grandmothers. Welcome, women of Europe. This is our Sunday evening. Where we're together every Sunday. My name is Carla Catharina Giskus Ammerlaan, and I'm a member of Four Worlds Europe. That's an organization related to Four Worlds International, walking the fourth way. And we've been coming together since last May, presenting ourselves, telling where we're from, what our ancestors are, what is our land, what is our water, what is the water telling us, what is the land telling us, who we are traveling with. And our team is growing. We are really happy to work together with Mirjam from Four Worlds. Karin is on the background, Karin Lindemann. Marie is in the team, Marie Fix. And we have someone new supporting, Ava, on the background. And of course, all the grandmothers like Joke, who has been coming here for all this time to keep this stream going. And since the beginning of this year, since the beginning of the World Water Year, we have a special focus to the water, and Mirjam will tell more about this. So we all ask you to present yourself, who you are, who your ancestors are. And first we let the grandmothers speak, and then women come, and I think that's it for the moment. I wanted to say something more, but I forgot it. So I give the feather to Marie to clean up the space, and then Mirjam, she will open up and do the drumming, call in the directions, and Marie and the elements, and Marie will bring in the ancestors. Welcome, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Grandmother Earth, Grandfather Fire, we call to you sacreds and unite you in holy union, so you may bring balance and purification. Feel this purification coming into your space and purifying you, purifying the whole circle, making all ready to receive from your ancestors. I pass the feather.
thank you, Grandmother Marie. I will call the directions and call in the elements. Calling in the east, where it all starts. Calling in the south, where we get into action, feel our passion. Calling in the west, where we can let go, that what's not needed. Think clean. Calling in the north, so we can oversee. Calling in the elements, to guide and protect us. The element earth, so we can fill our bones and have a good container. Calling in spirit of the water, so we can flow. Calling in spirit of fire for our transformation. Calling in spirit of air so we can receive the messages from our ancestors and our future generations. We are great skepper, great creator. We are Mother Earth. And we honor our hearts so they can be pure and open for sharing in this grandmother circle of Europe. We call in the ancestors, Grandmother Marie.
First, we make a sacred home in our heart and our space to call in all that is sacred, all that is holy. Go into your heart and feel that sacred space being created. Ancestors, I call on you, those who have loved us forever and for always, those we are in the line of, those who we are the progenitor of at this time. We are your representatives here on earth. We call to you and ask you to bring us your sacred messages. I call to your ancestors, each and every one of you in the circle and those to come in. And now we say a sacred prayer for our ancestors, each one from the heart individually. And I put your prayers on the fire. Ancestors, whisper to us your sweet messages. Guide us, watch over us, help us heal. For as we heal our entire line and our lineage. Help us to come back to center. Help us to speak with connection from the divine. Help us to be connected to all of life, our sacred waters, our earth, and all the plants and animals. Help us to feel this connection internally and be grounded in this connection. Thank you for being present. We love you. We honor you. And I pass the feather.
Thank you, Grandmother Marie, for calling in the ancestors and cleaning the space so we can have a very nice sharing circle. My name is Mirjam Nicolette Boering. I'm living in the Netherlands, close to the river the Rhine. The river Rhine is also called Renos. It's an old Roman word. Today we want to ask you to bring your songs of the water next to you, your local water songs, or stories of the waters around you. There are, for example, at the River Rhine, there are lots of stories everywhere. Sacred spaces, there are goddesses, there are myths and legends. I see that we have already beautiful grandmothers in the group, in the circle. before I speak, I would like the grandmothers to speak and share. So I would like to pass the feather to Grandmother Yoke.
Thank you. Good evening, dear sisters. My name is Cornelia Johanna Maria Steenvoorde. Ik ben de dochter van Anna Catharina Vink en Gerardus Johannes Steenvoorde. As far as I know, my family comes from the lowlands, but I'm not very far in history by knowing my ancestral lineage, but what I know is that we are from the lowlands. I live in The Hague, near the North Sea. It's the watershed of the River Rhine. Where I live in The Hague, on the north is an old part of the Rhine coming into the North Sea, it's Katwijk. And on the south, the river the Rhine flows into the North Sea by Hoek van Holland. There he is much bigger, but because we are Hollanders, we canalize all the waters through our country. So also there, the River Rhine is flowing in a straight way to the North Sea. I'm a member of the Grandmother Circle of the Lowlands. And today I want to share something about what we are working on with the grandmothers. One of our sisters asked our attention from reports from Rijkswaterstaat. I have to look at my note. It's a public work department of the Ministry of Infrastructure and Water Management. And the reports are calling Voice of the Water, and another report is calling Voice of the Soil. And well, our hearts were touched by the name of the reports, but when we look inside of it, the real voice of the water is not mentioned in that report. So we are making contact with that institute to try to find a way, our way to bring the voice of the water into that institute one way or another. We don't know exactly how, but we are looking for ways to bring the real voice. And by doing so, we realize that it is very important for us to formulate our own voice of the water. Of course, we have a lot of stories and from other indigenous people about the water, but now we are trying to feel what our words for the voice of the water are and trying to formulate that. And well, we felt that is for us as grandmothers a beautiful way of growing together to find the words for our connection with our water. So that's a path we are working on at this moment. And another experience was that we are preparing our ceremony for the 21 of March for the Peace Palace. And 4 times a year we stand with a sacred fire in front of the Peace Palace in The Hague. And by preparing that, we are making a leave out to tell people who are passing by what we are doing, because it's a public place and a lot of people passing by and are looking and well have no idea. Some are touched and stay, and some are hesitated, and now we are making a leaflet. And by doing that, we made a poem in which we invite the people who are passing by to come into the circle and to open their heart and to ground themselves. And for me, that was very interesting because I am not very good in translating Dutch into English. And I made a sentence to put your feet in the clay, because that is how we say that. When you are grounded, you put your feet in the clay. And my sister, Pauline, translated it in English, and she said, no, there is a special expression. It means working at the coal face. That's the expression in English for, and I was very surprised. I thought I couldn't combine that, but after that I realized that how important language is when we say we are looking for our indigenous roots, because we are living in the Netherlands, in the delta of the great rivers. So we have clay and we stand with our feet in the clay. But in other countries or on other places, the ground is different. So you cannot use the same expression. And well, that was for me an insight again, how important language is to, well, to find out things about our roots. In our daily language, there are so many hidden experiences, I think. So for me, that was a wake-up call, only that sentence translating. And well, it was nice to share, to know that we really live in the delta of the great rivers. So we have other experiences in our lives and in our ancestral lineages. At the same time, I realize that clay is coming from great rivers, is coming from all other countries with the water to our delta, our Netherlands. So we are very, very interconnected with all other parts of the world. And well, that was nice for me to have that experience with the language. And when you talk about stories of the water, we in the Netherlands have our goddess Nehalenia, and it's also a goddess of which we are we knew our contact with as grandmothers of the lower lands, because we know she is there. When we are at the water, we feel that she is there, but really make it our own and carry it with us in our indigenous community, well, we may go on a deeper level. So that's also one of the items we are exploring at this moment, our connection with our goddess Nehalenia. And I'm not prepared, but my sister Irene has a beautiful song about Nehalenia, and maybe I can sing a few sentences. I do not know the whole song, but I will try. And it's in Dutch. O vrouwen van het water, o sterren van de zee, ik zie u staan met open armen, bescherm uw kinderen van deze aarde, uw golven, uw getijden, zij komen en zij gaan, doorspoelen en zuiveren de aarde, onlosmakelijk verbonden met de maan. I do not know the other words, but I will, how do you say it? Practice this song so that I can sing all the sentences about Nederlandia. But thank you for listening. I've spoken.
Thank you, Grandmother Joke. How beautiful to a song about Nehalendia, to hear the song as well. Thank you very much. I saw that Marie can't stay all sharing circle probably, and she would like to speak, so I would like to pass the feather to Grandmother Marie.
My name is Mari Fix McEwen, Clan Ewing, or Ewan, Clan of the Yew Tree. My mother is Carolyn. Her mother is Beatrice. Her mother is Viola Maud. I've been so lucky to receive now 18 generations back into Scotland my mother's father's lineage, my grandmother's lineage, excuse me. And I am still working on the women of that lineage. And my place of lineage is Kilfinnan, Alba, or Scotland. Providence is Bute and Argyll, and my beloved watershed is Loch Fyne. I was looking for a song about Loch Fyne, and I found one, but I could not make out the words. And it was more recently written, so it didn't seem to apply to my needs. So I started to write one, and that has not been completed yet. But I felt it in my heart as I was singing yesterday. And Spirit also has given me something else to speak about today. But I did get a chant from the Druidic order of my peoples. And that chant, though, is specific to this order. And it does involve water. And it is not in Gaelic, my version right now immediately, but it will be, as I have the original reference to it somewhere. This song involves water because water was considered a healing or protecting agent to rid the body of evil or bad spirits. And now this particular chant was done during the medieval ages. And so it may have to do, some of the images or imagery may have to do with Christianity. And so I was asking last night to get more information about that and whether I should work with this particular imagery or not. So right now, as it stands, This imagery, they use a serpent for the negative evil energy that invades the body, and it's a dark serpent energy. And I was wondering whether it would be better to use the dark spirit or something along those lines, but I haven't really gotten my answer yet completely. So I would like to sing this song and share it with you. Spell of healing and protection, beat the serpent from its lair. Fill the filth of ancient serpent, beat the serpent from its lair. Returns the serpent maid, beat the serpent from its lair. Taught the soldier to consume him, beat the serpent from its lair. It would have washed by its nature, beat the serpent from its lair. It would have wasted by nature, beat the serpent from its lair. So it was the healer slew it, beat the serpent from its lair. Ready reason to destroy it, beat the serpent from its lair. Keeping it from wasting others, beat the serpent from its lair. Keep it ever from consuming, beat the serpent from its lair. Know the grave where healer cast it, beat the serpent from its lair. Without walls or rising roof tree, beat the serpent from its lair. Burnt the evil all to ashes, beat the serpent from its lair. Cast them into flowing waters, beat the serpent from its lair. Purified with flowing waters, beat the serpent from its lair. Beat the serpent from its lair. Beat the serpent from its lair. So to see the waters as something that is purifying, and then the healer takes this dark serpent out and it casts it into the water so it may return to where it is from, never more to be in the body of the person. And I thought it was wonderful to see that they were working with water for that purpose. And so what came to me last night was one of the facts that I'm finding is that I think I've sort of found out somewhat why we've gone astray and why, especially in the United States, something's going on which is not allowing men to see the power of women. And an example of that is I have someone that was associated with me, and I would bring a lot of knowing to him. Like I would say, oh, that's not going to work if that's done because of this or that. And we were very close, so I kind of had the right to speak to him in that way. And he would say, well, you know all these things. Why can't I know all these things? Or I should be able to do that. So every time he tried to do it or he would come from a place of ego, and he wasn't connected to certain kinds of wisdom, things that we're naturally connected to as women, because we're taking care of the whole, because we're concerned with everything more than just one person's interests. And so he would make all these decisions, and invariably he would be wrong. I can't even tell you that he was right one time. But there was an insistence on being right. There was an insistence on being in the place of woman. And I was in a meditation the other day, and I brought that up to the group, and all the men sat there and they all reflected, and they said, and they agreed that yes, women have that capability. But there's something in the United States that's happened is we've taken the articles away from our pronouns. As an example, as far as wisdom, Sophia is wisdom, but it is a feminine noun. So it connotates that the wisdom comes from a feminine connection. And in the United States, everything is the. So there's no idea of what the powers of man and woman are. And Spirit was talking to me about this last night. And so I felt that I should bring it up to the group because this seemed to be an important topic. And I think that there's a lot of misunderstanding about the power of woman and what women's abilities are, what men's abilities are. And so in that, there becomes a lack of reverence for the woman and her, what she can do and what she brings to the table, and a lack of being in a place where one can be in a place of power. And I've seen that in the United States, where when men run a lot of things, or they don't come to women to get feedback, and that happens in the Christian religion quite a bit. And they say men run the household, but women should obey. Then they're not recognizing what they have in front of them, who stands before you. And in our culture, many men run everything. And we've seen the imbalance that has happened through that. And the oracles, almost all oracles are female. And they scry, and granted, in different spiritual traditions, indigenous spiritual traditions, there are some men that do that work also, but they are very, very, very rooted in the feminine and the earth, and very tied to being responsible to all there is. So I bring that to us for consideration, to really reclaim our place where we stand, and to know that we bring something to the table, and at the same time to be as responsible to that as possible, to make sure our channel is purified, make sure that we only be in connection with the source and not let other things in. Energies that are abhorrent, energies that are unharmonizing, unbalancing. And in that, we be responsible to who we are and what powers we hold. And to hold men to understand who we are and to treat us as respectfully. And so that is what I have to offer today. And I pass the feather. I cannot see anyone, so I pass the feather back to the center. Thank you.
Thank you, Grandmother Marie. I would like to pass the feather to our dear grandmother, Shelley. How are you?
Wow, this is quite amazing. The energy has so shifted. I'm really happy to be here. So very happy. And I'm Shelley Ann Darling, and I'm here in the Pajib Scott the Androscoggin watershed, but the Penobscot at the end of the Penobscot River, where it meets Merry Meeting Bay. But I want to start, and I want to honor my ancestors. I am an Indigenous grandmother from Europe, living in the United States here in Maine, honoring my mother, Claire Cantor, her original name, Pollock, Claire Wilma Pollock, and my grandmother's Seal Cantor and husband, Joseph Cantor, and their names used to be Cantorovich, and honoring that passageway of their ancestors. And my other grandmother, Jen Pollock, and Dave Pollock, who lived in Providence. And some of those, really, it's that, those connections are from Sweden, and I have a Russian descent. But today in listening, I can see that there's a move to speak the voice of the rivers, which is really incredible, and the voice of water, wherever you are. And so I just call forth first that this is the place of the eagles. So I have grabbed the gifted eagle feathers that have been gifted to me on the beautiful point out here, where the hugest eagle's nest has been, and now they've moved it over here closer to the house, and blessed many, many times a day to see them. And this land, I want to, this river has had a lot of different names, and so I want to honor its various names. And I thought that given that we're kind of going into some of these origin stories, I would read something. And this was, Parapole was a 17th century Androscoggin Valley Abenaki. So I'm on land that belongs to the Wabanaki Confederacy, and specifically the Abenaki. And I also want to honor the voice of Molly Ockett, who I'm learning how to stand in my moccasins through her, and beginning to see the world in her eyes. She has been a guide for a movie I've been working on for over 4 years, and bringing the voice of Native wisdom into evolutionary consciousness, and understanding the need for truth and reconciliation commissions everywhere. And I feel like I've become very passionate about this. But I want to read Parapole's his testimony about the river of many names. So I, Parapole of lawful age, testify and say that the Indian name of the river was Pejibskak. Oh, Pejibskuk. That's interesting. From Quabacook, which is now called Merry Meeting Bay, up as far as Ematagapantuk, what the English called Harisi's Falls, the Great Falls at Auburn, Lewiston, and the river from Harisi Falls up was called Amoskongan, and the largest falls on the river was above Rockamikuk, which is Canton Point, about 12 miles up to what is now Rumford Falls, have got 3 pitches, and there's no other falls on the river like them. And the Indians used to catch the most salmon at the foot of them falls. And the Indians used to say when they went down the river from Rockamikuk, and when they got down over the falls by Harisi's, they say now, come Pejibskuk. And that's literally where I am. And just really want to honor this story, this origin story, which I've come here to speak. And I love what was spoken earlier. Yoko was sharing, really bringing in the voice of the river, because I think this is such a powerful piece. And the other thing that I wanted to bring in was that as a part of the voices of river, of the water, and a part of understanding our rivers is really, as you've been speaking, is understanding that the river is a whole living system. It's a whole system connected to other tributaries, and to begin to understand how that living system works is taking us back to our sacred relationship to the mother, to her wholeness. And I feel like that is, each one of us is a great tributary of this wholeness, this oneness. And that's the beauty of what's happening here. And I think this turn to sharing more about the relationship with the origin of the river, the song of the original peoples, that voice is really vital, because what I've learned, and I learned this years ago in a dowsing consortium that I've been holding, there is a magic that happens when you sing back the river her own voice, her original voice, and that travels and purifies and cleanses the water and brings it back to its own blueprint. And I think that that's what's happening here, and the fact that we're connecting like this, and that you keep this happening. You know, sometimes we go, oh, there's only a few people, or, you know, but that's not it at all. It's like those ones that are, I loved that, having your feet in the clay. We don't think about the different, you know, here it's a different sand, the beach. We, you know, I was taken out to this incredible point yesterday, and it's just in Maine, you know, it's like, yeah, there are these beaches, but they're very far and in between, unless you go out to the ocean. If you're on the river, there are these huge granite, huge beings, you know, and they gift us their song, and we're gifting back that song. And that is so magical. So thank you so much for being here. And I definitely want to talk to the grandmothers, because there's something coming up on, before I sing my song, there's something coming up on March, obviously March 22nd is World Water Day. And there is like, this needs to be brought in. So we are bringing it inside the connection field, of which you are a part. And I've also talked to them about Sunday's event because it's a 3-day Voices of Water. And I just feel like what you're doing, and we need to be a part of that. And they've already agreed. Little do you know. Or Mari might have said something, I'm not sure. But in any case, with that, I'll sing the song that the river gave to me on the day that I came here, and put my hands on that and those beautiful stone beings. And those stone beings and the trees and the eagle's nest, they've all seen the, you know, the beauty and the love for the land and the harmony, but it's also seen the degradation and the genocide of both the colonialists and the Native Americans. And today we hold that in reconciliation, and love. So it's really simple. Ancient mother, carry me. Ancient mother, can't you see? Ancient mother, carry me, carry me, carry me home. Carry me, carry me, carry me home. Ancient mother, carry we. Ancient mother, can't you see? Set us free. Carry we, carry us home. Carry we, carry us home. And just tell the water that I love you, we love you, we thank you, please forgive us, we're sorry, and we thank you. And I'm complete, thank you. Oh, I get to pass the feather.
Mm.
Ah. don't know Zira, so I'll pass it over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Shelley. I'm very happy to be here, and I live in Turkey. I live in Anatolia, in the middle part, and in a city called Eskişehir, which has a river flowing through it. But I have been living in Germany until I was 17. And I was living in Köln, also where the River Rhine, like Yorke mentioned and Miriam mentioned, was flowing through again. So I guess I chose again a city where there was a river, because it made me feel so good to be here, to see the waters. I'm very new to water work, maybe 1.5 months now. I met wonderful people in a Facebook group who were doing this work. And then I met Marie, and I had actually prayed to find people that can make me feel this deeper and understand more. And that's how I came here. Yes, and I want to honor my ancestors. My mother, Adeviye, my father, Hidayet, my grandmother, oh God, her name's not coming. Nazender, sorry, my grandmother Nazender, and my grandmother Olik, who was Armenian. These are the names I know. I hope I will find out her mother's name too. I know I can. And I'm starting to understand a little bit how important this water work is. And I've been thinking about the last 3 days, what is my service? How did I come here? Because it was through guidance in a way, through a wish to serve. And I hope, and as I listen to you, it helps me in a way to go a little bit deeper each time. And I'm thankful for everything you share. And it inspired me to look at maybe songs that exists about water in my country and to learn them, or even write a little song that I can maybe sing and maybe share next time. I don't know. Hope so. There's one more thing I really would like to share before I finish. And it is that what Mari told really touched me very much about the grandmothers, the women that need to be heard, and the wisdom of the women that needs to be heard. As I also live in a country where women are not that much heard, or but it's increasing. It's increasing. We are here. But also a little thing that my sister shared just about 2 weeks ago. She made some research about archetypes, and she said that the problem with the tribe is that the grandmother archetype is missing. And that's where the imbalance started. And when Mary mentioned that she wasn't listened to respected from men, usually, I could hear the story there again about this imbalance, because there's so much wisdom, and it is not maybe heard or respected that much. And I was thinking about this as well. And so I see again these connections, and I pray that our voices will be heard, that we can reach their hearts and make them really feel and see that we complete the tribe, actually, in a way they need, okay? In a way we all need. And for today, that's all. I thank you very, very much, all of you, wise women, grandmothers. Thank you. And I will just check. I would like to pass the feather to Paulina. Is it correct? I can't read it completely.
Thank you. It's Pauline.
Pauline.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Zahra. Thank you for your beautiful words, by the way. Yeah, okay. Well, after 2 weeks, I couldn't join in, and the willing was there, but my body was not there. I became a few times ill, and I thought, why is this the equinox we are going into, because we are going into transition to springtime? It's a cleaning of the earth, the cleansing because of COVID. Is it that? Then I was thrown back, and I realized, like some of you know, I decided to stop my actual life in working. And I worked with refugees, asylum seekers for 30 years. And the compassion with this group of people, these powerless people most of the time, was very big. And when I left my job, I thought, well, this is it, it's finished. But deep in me, there was this little voice, what are you thinking, Pauline? Is it really like this? And going up and down, becoming ill a few times, really, really sick. I had last week the symptoms of COVID, but I'm very happy it was not COVID. But during my shivering time, really shivering time, I realized that is really, I was mourning, because leaving my job, in which I was 30 years, so with so much compassion connected, there is really saying goodbye is much bigger than I thought. And I thought, well, this is really a nice message, a simple gift given by the universe, Mother Earth. And I'm very grateful. And as soon as I was internalizing this, I became in one day better. But now I want to, before I will go on sharing something else, I would like to honor my parents and grandparents. First of all, my name is Pauline Elizabeth. My nickname is Lies or Lisa. Vol, that's a German name, I thought, but actually it comes from Sweden. I was born in Indonesia, and my grandfather, who was a German man, he was also born in Indonesia, and he was a white man. And he also got married to his wife, Johanna Hendrika Elizabeth. And his son, Napi, was married to my mother, who is half Indonesian. So I was born in the island Sulawesi, Makassar, in Indonesia. And I realized after some time that being born there on an island, I always was surrounded by water. And water always seems to be always coming back in my life in certain ways. When I was a child, my mother said, "Would you like to learn to swim?" And I said, no, I'm afraid that I would sink. And then my mother said to me, just trust the water. Just let yourself flow and don't be afraid. But the water carries you. And I remembered these words when I was sick this week. And I said, oh, so just trust the water. Keep yourself into the water and let yourself flow. And then I started writing a poem. And it is a very simple poem. I will say it in Dutch. Godin, godin van de zee. Water, 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 naar de zee. Golven met me mee. Drijft mijn lijf, voel haar, getij. Altijd in mijn goddelijke stroom, dichtbij. Godin aan mijn zijde, godin die mij leidt. I will do a short translation. Goddess of the sea, water, 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 to the sea. Waves carry me, float into my life, in my body. Feel her, feel the tide. Always in my goddess stream, close, nearby. Goddess along my side, goddess who is leading me and guiding me. After that, I thought, this is what it is. This is what water means to me. And I always remember the words of my mother. And this simple wisdom explains me how strong the water is, but also very vulnerable. And that we honor her like she's not only a living ecosystem, she's more than that to me, but she is a living person. She is a living species. Very important in everybody's life. When we make the connection with our body, with a womb, what's the first thing? A life is in the body of a woman. It floats into the water and it carries you and makes you feel at ease. And you just can trust the water. You can just put your head in the waves and let it go. And I bless you all, that you all feel this water into your body. And if you go to see the water, thank her, and we honor her and be grateful. This is what I wanted to share. Thank you. And I want to pass the feather to Cynthia.
Thank you, Pauline. Thank you, grandmothers. It's been very moving. As I'm listening to your stories. Well, first I'll just pay respects to my parents and ancestry. I am the daughter of Roxanne Josephine Jerkowski, whose parents came from Poland. And my maternal grandmother's side were Polish Jews.
And my father, Robert Klatt, was adopted, but what I know of his lineage was Clan Cunningham from Scotland and England. And I live in the desert now, in the land of the Tohono O'odham Nation by the Rito River, and I can look out my window and I have a wash which comes off of the Pantano wash, which is connected to the Rito. And I'm realizing how much I took for granted the water until I chose to live in a desert. I grew up about an hour and a half from the Atlantic Ocean and was so deeply connected to the water. I swam with seals. I've swam with sea turtles when I went to Hawaii. And I one day was meditating on a top of a mountain in New Mexico and said, I need to move to the desert. This is, I was on this spiritual quest, and I'm still understanding what that's about. We have a serious problem here when it comes to the availability of water, and a lot of it has been due to the damage human beings have done in increasing the temperatures and global warming, and the water's drying out. People's wells are running dry, whole towns are running dry. We have to bring in water from the Colorado River from very, very far away to survive, and they haven't come up with a plan on what they're going to do when it runs out, which is very concerning to me. And water is becoming a commodity that now, that it's something that eventually will run out and people will have to buy, and it's will be used as a power, I believe, and it's very concerning. So singing her back is needed, needed here very much. I've really come to respect the indigenous people of the area, and the strength to survive in this desert is incredibly difficult. And I'm just amazed at the strength of the people. I was talking to a young man whose grandmother had just recovered from COVID. And I was just amazed. He was his family is of native, indigenous, from indigenous Mexico, and his grandmother had survived cancer. She had cancer again and was active, and with that she had broken her back and then got COVID and didn't end up in the ICU, survived, and was doing well. Like this woman is indestructible. Very tough people. I wanted to share, I've been trying to learn more from my ancestry, and just wanted to share a little. I didn't prepare anything because I wasn't here last week, so I didn't know what the topic was, but in my genealogical research, I found, and one site you can compare your DNA to ancient samples that archaeologists have found, and I had my closest relative was well, two of them. One was a man from northeast Scotland, right on the coast, Moray Firth, which is about a triangular shaped inlet just off the North Sea. This was maybe 600 BC, and from the Pictish people, and they were very connected to the sea, seafarers, fishermen. That was very exciting to locate. And the second one was very interesting. So, which was on my mother's side, the Eastern European side. And this one told me a lot about myself, actually. For many, I guess for a long time, after when they found this grave in what is now the Ukraine, was a warrior. They were buried with their horse and sword, and there was a kind of a warrior class person. They thought it was a man. They just assumed it was male, but with more advanced DNA, they realized this is a woman, and they've come to find out that there's with the Scythians, they were from the kind of Eurasia steppe, like Caucasus Mountains, were the women fought alongside the men. They had a warrior class, and with the Picts, the women fought alongside the men as well in battle, and that explained a lot to me. In terms of, now I'm a pacifist, I am not an advocate of war in any way, but in terms of equality of men and women, and the strength of women. And when everyone was talking, well, some people were talking about women's connection to water and how men have become disconnected. My prayer, and I'm starting to see it come to be, where men are becoming connected to their divine feminine. They also have been born through the great mother's womb and her water, and they can become connected to the change of the cycles and to nature. And historically, for thousands of years, they have been disconnected, but they equally can become connected to that. And I'm fortunate enough to work alongside young men and many refugees. This has just kind of happened to go this way, but I am just impressed with the current generation of young men, of such gentle, nurturing, loving, compassionate men who are finding that side of themselves, which has been so cut off from men. And that's been the biggest problem with the patriarchy, but that is being dismantled, and that's so important. But I would like to just set the intention to find a song or poem, either related to the Rito or Moray Firth. But thank you. I'm complete.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Oh, but I passed the feather to Epona Galita.
Grandmother Alexandra, you're muted.
Yes, I know. Good evening. Hello. Okay, so I calm my heart down because it's always emotional for me to talk. So this time I introduce also my ancestors. This time they want to speak also. So I come from my grandmother's side. From my father is Silvestra, and she's from the Abruzzi in central Italy. So she Adriatic side in the mountains by the sea. And my father also is from Abruzzi, and they immigrated to the United States. So my father is from the United States, makes me half American too. And from my mother's side, she is a Norman woman. So she's from Normandy, so suppose a Viking. And voilà, from my grandmother's name is Laura, and my grandfather is François Xavier. And I'm trying to honor them because it's very good for me to hear you because I'm making peace with my ancestors, because some times ago I had decided, okay, I make my tribe. So I start new. So it's good also so I did with my daughter Vivian and my daughter Lena. But it's good also to honor and make peace with the ancestors. So thank you to the grandmothers because they helped me to do this. And so I'm half French and half American, but Italian French, as you wish. And I've lived in the States for about 10, 15 years, and I was welcomed by first in Massachusetts, and then afterwards in Florida. And when I was in Florida, I was welcome on Seminoles land, Miccosukee. And so I thank them because they helped me see. And at a certain point, they say, go back home. So it's like, where is home? I don't know. So I came back to Europe. I tried to go to Italy, but my heart was there, but not my way of living. So now I'm in France. So I'm in southern France, in the Ligurie, in Celto Ligurie land, which is called the French Riviera, I suppose. And I'm learning, and I came to the grandmothers because there was in November a big hurricane around here, like a big storm, and the waters washed away many villages back in the mountains. It's called Alpes Maritimes, the lower Alps, the seaside Alps, and the hurricane or the tempest was called Alex. So my real name is Alexandra Lorraine Marie Di Genova. And it was really astonishing for me to see the strength, how it wiped out villages, and how the ancient ones, they had constructed in the top. So that part of the towns were not touched, but all the new houses were just washed away, and friend's house, and so I really felt the call we need to really talk to the river, really appease, if it's an English word, to gentle down, because it's also a land, you talk about the refugees, it's also a land when there is a lot of people crossing from Italy to France, and the people have been good because they have shown the immigrants how to go through the mountains, so they could pass, but there is a lot of men that are lost in the mountains. So I think the river is not happy for certain things. Voila. And there's so much to say. And I live by the sea, so the Mediterranean Sea. And the other day I went to Le Paillon, the river here that comes down from, well, the one that was really angry is about 60 kilometers. It starts up in the mountains. And I have the chance to see it arriving to the sea. So I went to where the water of the river and the sea, they get together and they dance. And so I prayed and I sang. And I have a poem that came, but voila. And I'm learning. I am learning to listen. I'm learning to talk. And voila. And one thing I wanted to say is about the man and the woman. You remind me many years ago, I went to Glastonbury and I met a young man by the tour, and we were talking and he started crying. And he started crying for all the men that were not allowed to speak their gentleness. And he was crying for all the fathers that had to have this like strong patriarchal figure, which society had put on them, but maybe they did not really wanted it. He was crying for the sons that were obliged to do jobs and being what they were not. Their heart were artists. The arts, they had the arts inside of them. And that's something I'm 48 now, and I had this encounter. I was about 29, 27, 28. So it's something that is always in my mind, the gentleness of men. And if we can allow them to take that space, they have so much to give to women because they come from the gentle heart. And so I'm trying to calm down my heart, and this helped me to understand, like I'm studying, I came back to France, so I'm learning about les Gaulois, Gaulish people, which I'm supposed also I live in this land. And I discovered one thing that really helps me is that in the Celtic mythology, in the Celtic beliefs, women are sons, like they're sunshine. They're strong women, and the men are lunar. So in Celtic mythology, the man is represented more lunar and the woman is more solar. And this really helped me to understand relationship with men. And voila, I wanted to share this. And I will share a song, which is not a song from here, but it's something that I carry since I was in the States, because I'm a little rainbow child. So it's a song about the water, and it's the song has been written by Sun Bear. I discovered, I was looking for it the other day, and it's true that in Rainbow Gatherings they have added many parts of it, more parts, but the original is very simple. So it goes like this. Okay, I don't know how to sing, so forgive me, but okay. The river is growing, growing and flowing. The river is flowing back to the sea. Mother Earth, now carry me, a child I will always be. Mother Earth, now carry me back to the sea. The river is flowing, flowing and growing. The river is flowing back to the sea. So at gatherings, I know it's sang still nowadays, And now I will sing it with honor, with much, much more understanding of it. Voilà. I have spoken.
Thank you very much, Grandmother Alexandra. Such a wise words as well, and a beautiful song. I see. I would like to pass the feather to Grandmother Bridget Wolf.
Thank you so much. So grateful I could be with you today. I haven't been here for a while, but you're always in my hearts, always. Thank you all for your heart sharing. So much wisdom in this circle, so much heart, so much connection to all that I hold dear to my heart as well. My name is Bridget. I'm the daughter of Bobby and Chuck Kraus. My mother's mother is Doris Spencer from England. My father's mother, my father's grandmother is also from England, Edna Popham. And she married a German man, a German-American man. And so on my mother's side, I have Swedish and Irish ancestry and English. And on my father's, there's still more to learn. A lot of German and a lot of English. And they were about 4 and 5 generations American. So, but I've been fortunate to live in other countries and study other languages. So I understood what Mari was saying about the no personal pronouns in the English language. And having studied French, la, le, German, der, die, das, I was realizing, because I sing O Sole Mio, my sunshine, il sole. Il is a masculine pronoun, I believe. And la mer, la mer, the ocean, with the feminine pronoun. So I appreciate this, all of these layers and textures and voices that just have made this morning so rich for me here in Southern Oregon, about an hour north of California. I am near the Applegate River, which flows into the Rogue River, which flows into the Pacific Ocean. And the river you see behind me in this virtual background is north of me, but it's the first river in Oregon I fell in love with. And the first river to give me a song. About 15 years ago, I was part of a beautiful event near the Umpqua River, and I was doing a trade to attend it. My participation was to bring through songs for the ceremonies for the Transformational Week with a shamanic practitioner, Christina Pratt, who's written an encyclopedia of shamanism. And so it was a very great honor to be able to do a work exchange and be able to explore bringing my musical gifts to an experience that I will always cherish, that even deepened my already awakening, earth connected to all the elements, heart, deepened it. So many stories. So I approached this beautiful river and stood at the banks. And I asked, for the first time in my life, I asked permission to walk into the water. And I waited until I felt an invitation to walk into the water. And in my heart, I knew I was going to ask for a song, but I was like in this beautiful space where I needed to just take my time. And so I waited. I was invited to step into the water. Something in my heart was connected, and I asked the water for a song. And then I heard these words and felt this melody, and I started singing it. And after that, I went right back to record it on a little cassette player, because otherwise I would forget it. And then I practiced it and I wrote it down, and I got it ready for the water ceremony that day with this group for the Transformation Week. So this is a song the beautiful water gave to me. I hope my volume's good. I'm not sure. Sweet water flowing around me, sweet water flowing through me, sweet water flowing, help me be wise, help me see, help me feel, help me hear who I am, help me taste, help me touch, help me be who I am. Thank you, rivers of life, waters of creation. It is a joy to be with this lovely circle of grandmothers today. Please bless each and every one and all that we're connected with. Through all the timelines, through all the dimensions, we love you. I put the feather back in the center and say thank you all. Thank you for your love.
Thank you, grandmother. Thank you, grandmother Bridget. Thank you very much for your beautiful song. I see it's now almost 8:30. I would like to pass the feather to Katarina, but I first want to know if everyone has a few more minutes time so Katarina can speak as well. Yes, is that okay? Okay, Katarina, please, I pass you the feather.
Thank you, Miriam, Sister Miriam. I want to keep it short. My name is Katarina Giske-Zangerlaan. And I will mention the name of my mother and her mother. The name of my mother is Katarina Helena Maria van der Burg. Her mother is Johanna Helena van der Haag. Her mother is Maria Jansen. Her mother is Maria Kester. Her mother is Maria Albers. And her mother is Gesina Gerleman. And last week I've been looking at water. That water really brings life. I've been looking to my mother who was reaching out to the dream world, stopped drinking, and we gathered all the young ones of our family, and we were all waving at her in front of the window. And when she saw them, she started drinking again. And it has been so meaningful for me because water is really life. And she was smiling today. That's why I wanted to mention all these grandmothers of grandmothers of grandmothers. Because looking back, it's looking into the source. Looking in the water, like the first water. And coming there through also beautiful experience and rough experiences. And these last weeks, I've been joining the Ho'oponopono prayers of Grandmother Robin Youngblood and looking back and going to the source. I'm praying for a Ho'oponopono song in our own language for the Grandmothers of Europe, and this is what I want to share. I have spoken. Ayert.
Thank you, Grandmother Katarina. So I would like to close the circle now. I don't know if Grandmother Marie is still here, but she might have been going to another meeting she had. So I want to thank you all for being here and participating, showing the stories of the water. I was sitting last Wednesday at the River Rhine, Renos, and when I was drumming, there were a lot of gooses coming all together, circling above, and they were circling and circling, and they were making noise and noise and noise. And then suddenly, at one moment, everyone, they were all going into groups, all to a different direction. It was amazing, amazing to see. And for me, that was also that I knew that I was at the end of my drumming. There were two fishermen fishing, and I was drumming, and I thought, oh, fish, go please to the deepest side of the river. They didn't caught any fish. So I'm very grateful that we all are going to gather all the songs and all the stories of the waters, because they have to be told. As we said before, also like the River Rhine, it's like a living species, it's a living being, like all the waters, and it's all connected, like all beings are interconnected to each other. The seen and the unseen, the water, the elements. So therefore, I want to close the circle, and I want to thank all the grandmothers who are here, our ancestors. I really feel their support when we ask them to support us. I really see them standing behind me and coming into the circle with us to guide us and protect us and give us the words we need to speak. So I would like to thank the directions and thank the elements. First, I want to thank our hearts. They have been so open and we can share equally. I want to thank Mama Erde, Mother Earth. And I want to thank Rutte Skeppe, Great Creator. I want to thank the elements guiding, protecting us. Spirit of fire, spirit of water, spirit of earth, spirit of earth. thank you, West. I want to thank you, South. I want to thank you, East. I want to thank you, Grandmothers of Europe, for being here and speaking. Thank you. I see that Grandmother Marie already arrived again. I want to close this circle. Thank you.
Thank you.